tonight I have the great pleasure of welcoming Kari Balazs. Some of you may recognize Kari from her fantastic lecture that the fantastic lecture that she held in the UN headquarters on World Down Syndrome Day this year. So a very warm welcome, Kari, and I hand over the floor to you. You're going to share.
All right, you ready? You're good.
Good evening to my new friends in Sweden and Norway. My name is Kari Balazs. I am 24 years old and I have Down syndrome. I am also a college student at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I am working on a Bachelor of Science degree in interdisciplinary studies with a minor in history. I am currently a senior and I am working on my capstone history project. My paper looks at the history of employment for people with disabilities and the laws that support that employment. I am arguing that it is time to update some employment laws that allow employers to pay less than the federal minimum wage to those workers in sheltered workshops. I am also arguing that there are many laws that force people with disabilities to live in poverty in order to access social services supports within their states. I want to tell you about moments in my life when people did things for me instead of with me. I want to share the times when people did things with me. I want you to know about the times when the people who love me fought for my right to learn how to do these things myself. This is my story. These are some of my family members: my mom, my dad, my sibling, and my Grammy, who all support me. I took horseback riding lessons for 18 years with special equestrians in Birmingham, Alabama. I started when I was just 3 years old. I was stubborn and the horse was also stubborn, and my teacher too. I didn't want to hold the reins because Charlie horse would toss his head and the reins would jerk around, so I would throw them down and refuse to pick them back up again. It would have been easy for the instructor to leave me in a circle. But Miss Kathy was equally determined that I would hold the reins and learn to take control of the horse. Sometimes I would just sit in the middle of the ring for a lot of the class. Miss Kathy would eventually win, and I would pick up the reins again for persistence and belief that I could and should do this made me a good rider. I also helped to raise money for the barn. I went to a Montessori school from the age of 18 months until I was done with the 5th grade. It was a great place to learn. Maria Montessori designed her learning programs with students with Down syndrome in mind. Most of the time, I had the chance to move at my own pace and learn to master reading and writing and a lot of other things. In the 3rd grade, a friend started tying my shoes for me so we could be faster out to recess and PE. My teacher thought that this was really helpful and sweet, but my mom wanted me to learn how because my best friend wouldn't be there to do it for me forever. So she talked to the teacher who told the friend how important it was to let me do it, but that she could wait with me while I tied my shoes. This is an example of someone doing it with me. When I changed schools and went to a public middle school near my house, I taught the teachers that it is possible for a student with Down syndrome to work hard and understand everything, even though it took me longer to do my work. My IEP was set up to make sure I had the support I needed to be successful. For example, when I was new to the school, my speech therapist would help me in the mornings to find my classes, but she didn't just lead me to the rooms, but she let me try to remember how to get to all the places I needed to be. When I could do it by myself, she no longer met me at the front door. She didn't do it for me. She did it with me. This is a picture of me receiving the Finley Character Award in the 8th grade. When I went to high school, the math teachers wanted to take away the tools that made it possible for me to do algebra. They wanted me to have my basic skills be fluent. First, and were going to keep me from taking algebra because I couldn't remember 6 times 7. All through middle school, I had used a calculator and a multiplication chart to learn math. And while I didn't really like math, I was good at it because I could remember the steps for solving problems. My mom told the IEP team that it wasn't fair to remove a tool that worked. To take away an accommodation seemed ridiculous. The admin in the meeting, once I looked up the standards for algebra, she said adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing were not algebra standards. She said the middle school had recommended I take algebra and that I could use my calculator to support my learning. That admin was with me, and my mother taught me how to fight for what I need. My American history class was co-taught. The special educator worked with the history teacher to make sure all my accommodations were met. She never let me give up. She taught me how to highlight, take notes, and to annotate. This helped me understand the classwork and what was expected of me as a learner. I still use the same methods today in my college classes. Not all teachers were that amazing though. I was supposed to have a study guide provided a week before a test. In my physical science class, my mom had the email to ask for it because the teacher had not provided it. He kept saying that he would take care of me. I didn't need him to take care of me. I needed a study guide, so I could learn the science. He wanted to do it for me, and I did not like that idea at all. These are pictures of my high school graduation. I went to Clemson College for 3 years until a pandemic shut it down. Then I transferred over to Stillman College. To every single college professor at both Clemson and Stillman College, and every tutor who has worked with me to help me achieve my goal of a degree, thank you for being truly helpful and not doing the work for me. Every challenge I face at college turns into a good outcome. I currently have a 4.0 in my classes. I have been inducted into 2 honor societies, the National Society for Leadership and Success, and the Sigma Cu Delta, which is the International English Honor Society. I have worked hard, so hard to be the person you see today. My mother tells me that when I was little, she would warn warn people not to be taken in by my sweet face. She would tell them I could do more than I will pretend to be able to do, and that they should not be fooled. Sometimes those people would think my parents were being unreasonable or mean when they expected me to behave or to do things by myself. But my parents were right. High expectations are necessary in order for everyone to reach their potential. I need people to work with me, not do things for me. I need people to teach me, not patronize me. I need my leaders to make laws that support my decision making, my work, and my future. I have potential, and I am planning on having a fabulous life. Be with me, not for me. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat.
Thank you so much, Kari, for sharing your interesting and inspiring story about supported decision-making with us. What fantastic achievements you have accomplished with hard work and supported decision-making. It's truly amazing. And we are so much looking forward to see what future have in store for you. You're only 24. So thank you for sharing this, Kari.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And now, yes, so now the chat is open. I have written in the chat, so I hope that everyone can see it. If you don't see it like the chat bubble, then you can click on this 3 dots and it says more under. And if you click on those, and no, I'm sorry, that was not the right place. If you see that the chat bubble, it's white, and then you can write questions for Kari in the chat. There's no questions there at the moment, but so I will just start with a question. And then if there's people writing questions, then my colleague Anna will read this aloud. Okay. So I wonder, Kari, you have studied like for so many years, and I wondered if you have met any prejudices during your studies against being a person with Down syndrome studying at a higher level. Have you met any prejudices? Is that someone
your college has anybody like thought that you didn't belong in the room?
No, everyone is very nice and very inclusive.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, and I think I'll stick in my voice. I think that we've been really fortunate. I mean, most of the colleges and the classes that she's taken, her professors have been really accommodating and very kind and really supportive. And Kari learned a lot of how to like go to people's offices and ask for help too, which
during their office hours.
Yeah.
That is always a good thing, to just ask for help. That is a good advice for every young adult, I think. But now there are some questions. Anna, will you read them?
Yes, I will read the first one here. Let's see. I will read the whole text, and it says, "That was really inspiring. I am a father of a lovely 10-month-old girl that I hope she will one day have the chance to hear your story and follow your path. My question is, what was the biggest challenge that you faced during your college experience?
Biggest challenge. Probably switching schools. Switching schools during COVID.
Yes.
Was it hard to like learn how to live on your own?
Yeah, it was hard to live on my own and to adapt to a new school. After my other school closed, it's kind of hard to adapt at first. But I found some awesome good friends to help me adapt. I adapted really well due to it.
Okay. Well, thank you for your answer. There is one more question here, and it says, thank you for the wonderful lecture. What do you think that you will work with 20 years from now?
Do you think you'll be working in Publix? Do you think what do you think you graduate from college that you would like to then see what you're doing when you're in your 40s?
Well, currently I am looking at Publix, but what I really want to do is to be a traveler speaker for like all over the world. I'll speak anywhere. And it'll be a lot of fun. Just speak my mind about Down syndrome all over the world, and it'll be really, yeah.
Great. Well, it all sounds wonderful. There is another question here, which is, how was it like to speak at the UN headquarters in New York?
It was a little nerve-wracking at first because I was really nervous and what people would think of me. But then when I got really into it, I totally forgot to be nervous. And it was actually really fun. I never actually been to New York before. This was my first time ever going.
Oh, great. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think that was. Are there any more questions coming in? Let's see. There is also one comment here that says, thank you for a great presentation. And yes, there's one more question. What hobbies do you have?
What are your dreams?
Well, I hope one day that I will be a paid traveler around the world to just talk again. And I also to live in my own apartment one day, away from my parents' house, because sometimes they can be really annoying, but really, really helpful and really there for more support.
Yeah.
Anything more
that you hope for?
Yeah.
Well, you'd like to be married. You'd like to meet someone and get married.
Yes, I do hope someone will wake me up. Actually find me cute for once. I want a husband one day.
Yeah. Great. Well, it all sounds wonderful, really. Yeah, let's see if there are any more questions. No, yes, there's one comment here. Thank you for your inspiring presentation. can you tell more about how the public accommodates for your support decision?
Oh, do you know?
Well, so in the United States, we have a law called the Americans with Disabilities Act. So when you get to college, you don't have a written plan that helps support you, but you can go to the college and ask for things like extra time and extra help with work, copies of class notes so that you can take notes, but then you also have copies of it. So Kari, what do you do for notes in class?
Well, I use a recorder device on my laptop, so that way I can record my teacher. That way I won't miss anything important, like any important due dates for the major tests. And I also write them down too.
And Kari also gets a chance, if she wants it, to take her tests in a quiet place. The colleges have testing centers that she could go to if she wants to, or take a test in an office so that she could have more time on the tests.
Like a time and a half, right?
Yep.
Yeah, time and a half.
So when she was in high school, we tried very hard to sort of work towards that space where she wouldn't need as much support as she did her 9th grade year, and to have her be more independent in taking her notes and in doing all of her work as she worked through high school, so that when she went off to college, it wouldn't be as big a shock to not have the same support system that you have when you're in the public schools here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah, well, there's one more question here for you, which is very nice to hear your story, Kari. Thank you. What is the best thing about being a student?
Oh. The best thing about being a student at Stillman is that diversity of the campus and, well, the food. Gotta be honest here. Also, the best thing about being a student at Stillman is learning. I'm all about the learning, and I like learning about history and being social with other students, with my friends, with other students, like going out with them at night or doing an activity with them outside, stuff like that. It's also really fun and part of student life at Stillman College too. And I even got a mascot. This is my Stillman tiger. I'm a proud, what do you call them?
Stillmanite.
Yes, I'm a proud Stillmanite.
Oh, great. Well, it sounds wonderful. Yes, really. Like you're having a good time in college.
I am, yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm in my bathroom now. I'm
yes.
in the house.
Let's see. There's one more question. Are there any more students with Down syndrome at Stillman?
There's going to be one.
Going to actually, yes, it's going to be one.
Oh.
Brand new student is starting this fall who has a young woman who has Down syndrome.
Oh. On the same hall as me?
On the same hall as you.
Yes, on the same hall as me. But she might actually be my best friends.
Oh, great. So she will be a freshman? Is that?
You think so, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Well, great. I don't think there are any more questions for tonight. I think if there are, you can the chat is still open for some minutes, but I think that we will start wrapping up this evening. So all that remains for me now is just to thank everyone for tonight. I want to thank everyone that was registered and attending this webinar, for spending their evening with us. And I want to thank Down Syndrome International for setting us in contact with Kari and the groundbreaking work that they are doing on self-advocacy. And then I want to hand over a warm and special thank to you, Kari, for sharing your story with us.
Of course.
And by sharing this story, you're giving the voice to people with Down syndrome, and you are increasing knowledge and reducing prejudices against people with Down syndrome. And I want to thank you so very much for doing so. And with these words, we will end this webinar. And we wish everyone in Norway and Sweden a pleasant evening and a good night. And for you in the States, we wish you a good afternoon. And here is something from the chat is thank you very much. So from all the whole audience and for everyone here. So thank you.
And thank you for inviting me to speak.
Of course, fantastic that you wanted to come and share your story. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So it's an applaud here from Karianna. I'm joining it. Oh, several people are joining. That is applaud in sign language from. Actually, that is two persons from my own family. That is my husband and my son. That is applauding in sign language. Yes, is it the same in American Sign Language? This is yes, it's the same as Swedish Sign Language. Is the same for Norwegian Sign Language? Yes. What do you want to say? Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. Good night. Bye bye, everyone.